And then there were those moments. The moments that still make my heart tremble when I remember them. When Saul was within reach. When the Lord placed him close enough that I could have ended the chase with one swift decision. One strike, and the threat would have been gone. My men urged me. Their eyes were bright with the logic of survival. Surely this is God's answer, they said. Surely this is the Lord delivering your enemy into your hand. But I could not do it. I could not lift my hand against the Lord's anointed. I could not take the throne by bloodshed, even if the bloodshed seemed justified. Do you understand what it is to hold back when you have every reason to retaliate? To choose restraint when your wounds are fresh? To refuse the shortcut because you fear God more than you fear your enemy? That is not weakness. That is worship. That is faith that believes God can fulfill His promises without your sin. That is faith that says, the Lord who called me will also keep me. And in those moments, the wilderness became a sanctuary. The cave became a place where my heart was tested and refined. This song is born out of that kind of life. It is not written from a distance. It is written from the inside of the storm. It is the memory of what it felt like when death pressed close, when trouble wrapped around me like cords, when the waters of chaos rose and threatened to swallow me whole. It is the testimony of what happened when I cried out to the Lord and He heard me. Not as a vague spiritual idea, but as a living God who responds. When I say the Lord delivered me, I am not speaking in soft metaphors. I am speaking of the Lord as my rock, steady when everything else shifts. I am speaking of Him as my fortress, strong when I am exposed. I am speaking of Him as my deliverer, active, intentional, personal. I am speaking of the Lord as my shield when arrows are flying, as the horn of my salvation when I am weak, as my stronghold when the enemy surrounds. These are not titles I learned in school. These are names I earned in the wilderness. And because this is a song, it carries the sound of lived experience. It rises and falls like breath. It moves from terror to praise, from memory to proclamation, from the darkness of danger to the brightness of rescue. It speaks of the Lord as if the heavens themselves respond to His presence. Earth trembling, mountains shaking, thunder rolling like a chariot across the sky. Some will hear these images and think they are too large, too dramatic. But when you have been delivered, your language grows. When you have been rescued from the edge, you need words big enough to hold the weight of what God has done. I have seen storms sweep over the hills, turning the sky into a bruised canopy and the valleys into rivers. I have heard thunder crack so close it felt like the world was splitting. I have watched lightning stitch the darkness with sudden light. And in those moments, I have thought of the Lord, not because I am trying to force meaning into weather, but because creation itself seems to remember its maker. If the Lord can command the skies, if He can set boundaries for the sea, if He can hold the stars in their courses, then He can also hold my life. He can also hold yours.